The Lover by Marguerite Duras. Page 46. Kisses on the body bring tears, almost like a consolation. At home, I don't cry, but that day, in that room, tears console both for the past and for the future. I tell him one day I'll leave my mother. One day, even for my mother, I'll have no love left. I weep. He lays his head on me and weeps to see me weep. I tell him that when I was a child, my mother's unhappiness took the place of dreams. My dreams were of my mother, never of Christmas trees, always just her. A mother either flayed by poverty or distraught and muttering in the wilderness, either searching for food or endlessly telling what's happened to her. Marie Legrand, from Roubaix, telling of her innocence, her savings, her hopes. Through the shutters, evening has come. The noise has got louder. It's more penetrating, less muffled. The livid red streetlights are lit. We've left the flat. I've put on the man's hat with the black ribbon again, the gold shoes, the dark lipstick, the silk dress. I've grown older. I suddenly know it. He sees it, he says. You're tired. On the sidewalk, the crowd going in all directions, slow or fast, forcing its way, mangy as stray dogs. A Chinese crowd. I can still see it now, in pictures of present prosperity, in the way they go along together without any sign of impatience, in the way they are alone in a crowd, without happiness, it seems, without sadness, without curiosity, going along without seeming to, without meaning to, just going this way, rather than that, alone, and in the crowd. Never alone even by themselves, always alone even in the crowd. We go to one of those Chinese restaurants on several floors. They occupy whole buildings. They're as big as department stores or barracks. They look out over the city from balconies and terraces. The noise that comes from these buildings is inconceivable in Europe. The noise of orders yelled out by the waiters, then taken up and yelled out by the kitchens. No one ever merely speaks. On the terraces there are Chinese orchestras. We go up to the quietest floor, the Europeans' floor. The menus are the same, but there's less yelling. There are fans and heavy draperies to deaden the noise. I ask him to tell me about his father's money, how he got rich. He says it bores him to talk about money, but if I insist, he'll tell me what he knows about his father's wealth. It all began in Toulon, with the housing estates for natives. He built 300 of these compartments, cheap, semi-detached dwellings let out for rent, owns several streets, speaks French with an affected Paris accent, talks money with perfect ease. He used to own some apartment blocks, but sold them to buy building land south of Cholon. Some rice fields in Sadek were sold too, the son thinks. I ask about epidemics. Say I've seen whole streets of native compartments closed off overnight, the doors and windows nailed up, because of an epidemic of plague. He says there's not so much of it here. The rats are exterminated much more often than up country. All of a sudden, he starts telling me some rigmarole about the compartments. They cost much less than either apartment blocks or detached houses and meet the needs of working-class areas much better than separate dwellings. The people here like living close together, especially the poor, who come from the country and like living out of doors too, on the street. And you must try not to destroy the habits of the poor. His father has just built a whole series of compartments with covered balconies overlooking the street. This makes the streets very light and agreeable. People spend the whole day on these outside balconies. Sleep there, too, when it's very hot. I say I have liked to live on an outside balcony myself. When I was small, it was my dream to sleep out of doors. Suddenly I have a pain, very slight, almost imperceptible. It's my heartbeat, shifted into the fresh, keen wound he's made in me. He's the one who's talking to me, the one who also made the afternoon's pleasure. I don't hear what he's saying. I've stopped listening. He sees, stops. I tell him to go on. He does. I listen again. He says he thinks about Paris a lot. He thinks I'm very different from the girls in Paris. Not nearly so nice. I say the compartments can't be as profitable as all that. He doesn't answer. Throughout our affair, for a year and a half, we talk like this, never about ourselves. From the first we knew we couldn't possibly have any future in common, so we'd never speak of the future. We talk about day-to-day events, evenly, hitting the ball back and forth. I tell him his visit to France was fatal. He agrees. Says he bought everything in Paris, his women, his acquaintances, his ideas. He's 12 years older than I, and this scares him. I listen to the way he speaks, makes mistakes, makes love even, with a sort of theatricality at once contrived and sincere. I tell him I'm going to introduce him to my family. He wants to run away. I laugh. He can only express his ideas through parody. I discover he hasn't the strength to love me in opposition to his father, to possess me, take me away. He often weeps because he can't find the strength to love beyond fear. His heroism is me. His cravenness is his father's money. Whenever I mention my brothers, he's overcome by this fear, as if unmasked. He thinks my people all expect a proposal of marriage. He knows he's lost, done for already, in my family's eyes, and that for them, he can only become more lost, and, as a result, lose me. He says he went to study at a business school in Paris. He tells the truth at last. Says he didn't do any work, and his father stopped his allowance, sent him his return ticket, and he had to leave. This retreat is his tragedy. He didn't finish the course at the business school. He says he hopes to finish it here, by correspondence. The meetings with the family began with the big meals in Cholong. When my mother and brothers come to Saigon, I tell him he has to invite them to the expensive Chinese restaurants they don't know, have never been to before. These evenings are all the same. My brothers gorge themselves without saying a word to him. They don't look at him either. They can't. They're incapable of it. If they could make the effort to see him, they'd be capable of studying, of observing the elementary rules of society. During these meals, my mother's the only one who speaks. She doesn't say much, especially the first few times, just a few comments about the dishes as they arrive. The exorbitant price, then silence. He, the first couple of times, plunges in and tries to tell the story of his adventures in Paris, but in vain. It's as if he hadn't spoken, as if nobody had heard. His attempt founders in silence. My brothers go on gorging. They gorge as I've never seen anyone else gorge anywhere. He pays. He counts out the money, puts it in the saucer. Everyone watches. The first time I remember he lays out 77 piastres. My mother nearly shrieks with laughter. We get up to leave. No one says thank you. No one ever says thank you for the excellent dinner, or hello, or goodbye, or how are you? No one ever says anything to anyone. My brothers never will say a word to him. It's as if he were invisible to them, as if for them he weren't solid enough to be perceived, seen, or heard. This is because he adores me, but it's taken for granted I don't love him, that I'm with him for the money, that I can't love him. It's impossible that he could take any sort of treatment from me and still go on loving me. This because he's a Chinese, because he's not a white man. The way my elder brother treats my lover, not speaking to him, ignoring him, stems from such absolute conviction. It acts as a model. We all treat my lover as he does. I myself never speak to him in their presence. When my family's there, I'm never supposed to address a single word to him, except yes, except to give him a message. For example, after dinner, when my brothers tell me they want to go to the fountain to dance and drink, I'm the one who has to tell him. At first, he pretends he hasn't heard. And I, according to my elder brother's strategy, am not supposed to repeat what I've just said, not supposed to ask again, because that would be wrong. I'd be admitting he has a grievance. Quietly, as if between ourselves, he says he'd like to be alone with me for a while. He says it to end the agony. Then I'm still not supposed to catch what he says properly. One more treachery. As if by what he said he meant to object, to complain of my elder brother's behavior. So I'm not supposed to answer him. But he goes on. Is bold enough to say, your mother's tired, look at her. And our mother does get drowsy after those fabulous Chinese dinners in Cholong. But I still don't answer. It's then I hear my brother's voice. He says something short, sharp, and final. My mother used to say he's the one who speaks best out of all the three. After he's spoken, my brother waits. Everything comes to a halt. I recognize my lover's fear. It's the same as my younger brother's. He gives in. We go to the fountain. My mother, too. At the fountain, she goes to sleep. In my elder brother's presence, he ceases to be my lover. He doesn't cease to exist, but he's no longer anything to me. He becomes a burnt-out shell. My desire obeys my elder brother, rejects my lover. Every time I see them together, I think I can never bear the sight again. My lover's denied in just that weak body, just that weakness, which transports me with pleasure. In my brother's presence, he becomes an unmentionable outrage, a cause of shame, who ought to be kept out of sight. I can't fight my brother's silent commands. I can when it concerns my younger brother, but when it concerns my lover, I'm powerless against myself. Thinking about it now brings back the hypocrisy to my face, the absent-minded expression of someone who stares into space, who has other things to think about, but who just the same, as the slightly clenched jaws show, suffers and is exasperated at having to put up with this indignity just for the sake of eating well in an expensive restaurant, which ought to be something quite normal. And surrounding the memory is the ghastly glow of the night of the hunter. It gives off a strident note of alarm, like the cry of a child. No one speaks to him at the fountain either. We all order Martels and Perrier. My brothers drink theirs straight off and order the same again. My mother and I give them ours. My brothers are soon drunk, but they still don't speak to him. Instead, they start finding fault, especially my younger brother. He complains that the place is depressing, that there aren't any hostesses, there aren't many people at the fountain on a weekday. I dance with him, with my younger brother. I don't dance with my elder brother. I've never danced with him. I was always held back by a sense of danger, of the sinister attraction he exerted on everyone, a disturbing sense of the nearness of our bodies. We were strikingly alike, especially in the face. The Chinese from Cholon speaks to me. He's on the brink of tears, he says. What have I done to them? I tell him not to worry. It's always like that, even among ourselves, no matter what the circumstances. I'll explain when we are together again in the apartment. I tell him my elder brother's cold, insulting violence is there whatever happens to us, whatever comes our way. His first impulse is always to kill, to wipe out, to hold sway over life, to scorn, to hunt, to make suffer. I tell him not to be afraid. He's got nothing to be afraid of because the only person my elder brother's afraid of, who, strangely, makes him nervous, is me. Never a hello, a good evening, a happy new year, never a thank you, never any talk, never any need to talk, everything, always silent, distant. It's a family of stone, petrified so deeply, it's impenetrable. Every day, we try to kill one another, to kill. Not only do we not talk to one another, we don't even look at one another. When you're being looked at, you can't look. To look is to feel curious, to be interested, to lower yourself. No one you look at is worth it. Looking is always demeaning. The word conversation is banished. I think that's what best conveys the shame and the pride. Every sort of community, whether of the family or other, is hateful to us, degrading. We're united in a fundamental shame at having to live. It's here we are at the heart of our common fate. The fact that all three of us are our mother's children, the children of a candid creature murdered by society. We're on the side of the society which has reduced her to despair because of what's been done to our mother, so amiable, so trusting. We hate life. We hate ourselves. My mother didn't foresee what was going to become of us as a result of witnessing her despair. I'm speaking particularly of the boys, her sons. But even if she had foreseen it, how could she have kept quiet about what had become her own essential fate? How could she have made them all lie? Her face, her eyes, her voice, her love. She could have died, done away with herself, broken up our intolerable community, seen to it that the eldest was completely separated from the younger two. But she didn't. She was careless, muddle-headed, irresponsible, all that. She went on living, and all three of us loved her beyond love just because she couldn't, because she wasn't able to keep quiet, hide things, lie. We, different as we all three were from one another, all three loved her in the same way. It went on for a long time, 7 years. When it began, we were 10, and then we were 12, then 13, then 14, 15, then 16, 17. It lasted all that age, 7 years. And then finally, hope was given up, abandoned, like the struggles against the sea. From the shade of the veranda, we look at the mountains of Siam, dark in broad daylight, almost black. My mother is quiet at last, mute. We, her children, are heroic, desperate. My younger brother died in December 1942, during the Japanese occupation. I'd left Saigon after graduating from high school in 1931. He wrote to me just once in 10 years. I never knew why. The letter was conventional, made out in a fair copy in careful handwriting, without any mistakes. He told me everyone was well. The school was a success. It was a long letter, 2 whole pages. I recognized his handwriting, the same as when he was a child. He also said he had an apartment, a car. He told me the make, that he'd taken up tennis again, that he was fine, everything was fine, that he sent his fondest love. He didn't mention the war or our elder brother. I often bracket my 2 brothers together as she used to. Our mother, I say my brothers, and she too, outside the family, used to say my sons. She always talked in an insulting way about her son's strength. For the outside world, she didn't distinguish between them. She didn't say the elder son was much stronger than the younger. She said he was as strong as her brothers, the farmers in the north of France. She was proud of her son's strength in the same way as she'd been proud of her brothers. Like her elder son, she looked down on the weak. Of my lover from Cholon, she spoke in the same way as my elder brother. I won't write the words down. They were words that had to do with the carry-on you find in the desert. I say my brothers, because that's what I used to say too. It was only afterwards that I referred to them differently, after my younger brother grew up and was martyred. Not only do we never have any celebrations in our family, not a Christmas tree or so much as an embroidered handkerchief or a flower. We don't even take notice of any death, any funeral, any remembrance. There's just her. My elder brother will always be a murderer. My younger brother will die because of him. As for me, I left, tore myself away. Until she died, my elder brother had her to himself. At that time, the time of Cholon, of the image, of the lover, my mother has an access of madness. She knows nothing of what's happened in Cholon. But I can see she's watching me. She suspects something. She knows her daughter, her child, and hovering around that child for some time, there's been an air of strangeness, a sort of reserve, quite recent, that catches the eye. The girl speaks, even more slowly than usual. She's absent-minded. She, who's usually so interested in everything, her expression has changed. She's become a spectator, even of her mother, of her mother's unhappiness. It's as if she were witnessing its outcome. There's a sudden terror in my mother's life. Her daughter's in the direst danger, the danger of never getting married, never having a place in society, of being defenseless against it, lost, alone. My mother has attacks during which she falls on me, locks me up in my room, punches me, undresses me, comes up to me and smells my body, my underwear, says she can smell the Chinese's scent, goes even further, looks for suspect stains on my underwear and shouts for the whole town to hear that her daughter's a prostitute. She's going to throw her out. She wishes she'd die. No one will have anything to do with her. She's disgraced, worse than a bitch. And she weeps, asking what she can do except drive her out of the house, so she can't stink the place up anymore. Outside the walls of the locked room, my brother. He answers my mother, tells her she's right to beat the girl. His voice is lowered, confidential, coaxing. He says they must find out the truth at all costs. Must find out in order to save the girl, save the mother from being driven to desperation. The mother hits her as hard as she can. The younger brother shouts at the mother to leave her alone. He goes out into the garden, hides. He's afraid I'll be killed. He's afraid, he's always afraid, of that stranger, our elder brother. My younger brother's fear calms my mother down. She weeps for the disaster of her life, of her disgraced child. I weep with her. I lie. I swear by my own life that nothing has happened to me. Nothing. Not even a kiss. How could I say, with a Chinese? How could I do that with a Chinese? So ugly. Such a weakling. I know my elder brother's glued to the door, listening. He knows what my mother's doing. He knows the girl's naked, being beaten, and he'd like it to go on and on, to the brink of harm. My mother is not aware of my elder brother's obscure and terrifying intent. We're still very small. Battles break out regularly between my brothers, for no apparent reason except the classic one, by which the elder brother says to the younger, "Clear out, you're in the way," and straightway lashes out. They fight without a word. All you can hear is their breathing, their groans, the hollow thud of the blows. My mother accompanies this scene like all others, with an opera of shrieks. They both have the same talent for anger, those black, murderous fits of anger you see only in brothers, sisters, mothers. My elder brother can't bear not being able to do evil freely, to be boss over it not only here, but everywhere. My younger brother can't bear having to look on helpless at this horror, at what his elder brother is like. When they fought, we were equally afraid for both of their lives. My mother used to say they'd always fought. They'd never played together, never talked to one another, that they had nothing in common but her, their mother, and especially their sister. Nothing but blood. I believe it was only her eldest that my mother called my child. She sometimes called him that. The other two she called the younger ones. We said nothing about all this outside. One of the first things we'd learned was to keep quiet about the ruling principle of our life, poverty, and then about everything else. Our first confidants, though the word seems excessive, are our lovers, the people we meet away from our various homes. First, in the streets of Saigon, and then on ocean liners and trains, and then all over the place. It takes my mother all of a sudden toward the end of the afternoon, especially in the dry season, and then she'll have the house scrubbed from top to bottom, to clean it through, scour it out, freshen it up, she says. The house is built on a raised strip of land, clear of the garden, the snakes, the scorpions, the red ants, the floodwaters of the Mekong, those that follow the great tornadoes of the monsoon. Because the house is raised like this, it can't be cleaned by having buckets of water thrown over it, sluiced right through like a garden. All the chairs are piled up on the tables. The whole house is streaming. Water is lapping around the piano in the small sitting room. The water pours down the steps, spreads through the yard, toward the kitchen quarters. The little houseboys are delighted. We join in with them, splash one another, then wash the floor with yellow soap. Everyone's barefoot, including our mother. She laughs. She's got no objection to anything. The whole house smells nice. with the delicious smell of wet earth after a storm, enough to make you wild with delight, especially when it's mixed with the other, the smell of yellow soap, of purity, of respectability, of clean linen, of whiteness, of our mother, of the immense candor and innocence of our mother. The houseboys' families come along, and the houseboys' visitors, and the white children from neighboring houses. My mother's very happy with this disorder. She can be very, very happy sometimes. Long enough to forget. The time it takes to clean out the house may be enough to make her happy. She goes into the sitting room, sits down at the piano, plays the only tunes she knows by heart, the ones she learned at the normal school. She sings. Sometimes she laughs while she plays, gets up, dances and sings, and everyone thinks, and so does she, that you can be happy here in this house, suddenly transmogrified into a pond, a water meadow, a ford, a beach. The two smaller children, the girl and the younger brother, are the first to remember. They suddenly stop laughing and go into the darkening garden. I remember, just as I'm writing this, that our elder brother wasn't in Vinh long when we sluiced the house out. He was living with our guardian, a village priest, in the department of Lot-et-Garonne. He too used to laugh sometimes, but never as much as we did. I forget everything. I forgot to say this, that we were children who laughed. My younger brother and I laughed fit to burst, fit to die. I see the war as I see my childhood. I see wartime and the reign of my elder brother as one, partly, no doubt, because it was during the war that my younger brother died. His heart, as I've said, had given out, given up. As for my elder brother, I don't think I ever saw him during the war. By that time, it didn't matter to me whether he was alive or dead. I see the war as like him, spreading everywhere, breaking in everywhere, stealing, imprisoning, always there, merged and mingled with everything, present in the body, in the mind, awake and asleep, all the time, a prey to the intoxicating passion of occupying that delightful territory, a child's body, the bodies of those less strong, of conquered peoples, because evil is there at the gates, against the skin. We go back to the apartment. We are lovers. We can't stop loving each other. Sometimes I don't go back to the boarding school. I sleep with him. I don't want to sleep in his arms, his warmth, but I do sleep in the same room, the same bed. Sometimes I stay away from high school. At night we go and have dinner in town. He gives me my shower, washes me, rinses me. He adores that. He puts my makeup on and dresses me. He adores me. I'm the darling of his life. He lives in terror, lest I meet another man. I'm never afraid of anything like that. He's also afraid not because I'm white, but because I'm so young. So young he could go to prison if we were found out. He tells me to go on lying to my mother, and above all to my elder brother, never to say anything to anyone. I go on lying. I laugh at his fear. I tell him we're much too poor for my mother to start another lawsuit, and anyway, she's lost all those she ever did start. Against the land registrar, against the officials, the government, the law. She doesn't know how to conduct them properly, how to keep calm, wait, go on waiting. She can't. She makes a scene and spoils her chances. With this one, it would be the same, so no need to be afraid.